Welcome to my new video. Behind me is still the Anker Solix Solar Bank 3rd generation. I've already made quite a few videos about this. A very reliable system that has accompanied me nicely through the summer with excellent production values. This video is also going to be about Anker products again, specifically, let's just say, the next level. The Anker Solix Solar Bank 3rd generation. Because Anker has released another great new product, and that's what I want to take a closer look at with you today. You can already see the new products behind me on the table. Let's start with the new Wallbox from Anker, namely the Anker Solix V1 Smart Electric Vehicle Charger. This comes in 3 versions. It also has many exciting features or offers many exciting possibilities. The system can also be operated in conjunction with the smart meter or here with the PowerDock, and then you can charge your cars intelligently. Here, artificial intelligence can also intervene and can then track the behavior accordingly. And in this way, even more electricity can be saved for you, so that you can drive your electric vehicle more cheaply. But the real highlight here is the Anker PowerDock. You've probably already seen it everywhere in the media. I have it here as well now. This is a system that allows you to connect several Anker solar banks together to form a large photovoltaic system. We can connect 4 Anker solar banks here and use them as a large photovoltaic system. It's important to mention, if you already own existing Anker Solix solar banks, you can get the PowerDock starting at around €399 and basically get started here. If you have the system installed directly by Anker, it means that in this case, your total acquisition costs, including installation, will be around €1,500. However, for most standard German households, a significantly larger set is recommended or would be suitable. That means we're talking about a PowerDock with 2 solar banks and 2 expansion batteries here. Furthermore, it is also recommended to add 12 photovoltaic modules, and this should generally be sufficient for the electricity needs of most German households. If you add an installation fee here, the cost for such a system is about €6,399. Compared to a large photovoltaic system, which usually costs around €15,000, this is significantly cheaper. And we have a big advantage. We can also do many steps ourselves during the installation. I'll just show it to you. That way we can save a lot more money. If you want to install the system, of course, you can have an electrician do it for you, because the final connection to the grid has to be done by an electrician and the registration also has to be completed. However, Anker also offers this service. You can also purchase this service here right away and have the system fully installed. The big advantage of this system is that we have a significantly shorter payback period compared to a large photovoltaic system, and the installation is much easier. Another point worth mentioning is that we can start small with this system. That means you can first buy the system in a smaller configuration, see how the system works, how much you really need, and how much the system actually provides for you. And you can expand it later on, gradually increasing the size of the system. And very important, the system is, of course, also compatible with the Anker Solix V1 Smart Electric Vehicle Charger, or, of course, with many other Wallboxes. I'd like to point out a special feature here. The PowerDock has 2 ports. There's a 32 amp connection here. For example, the Anker Solix V1 Smart Electric Vehicle Charger can be connected directly here. That further simplifies the connection and lowers installation costs, because here you simply insert a regular plug and the system is ready to use. That's significantly cheaper than if you wanted to install a standard Wallbox, for example. You also need to install a sub-distribution board and cables, which is usually much more expensive. But we know the problem in Germany. Not everyone gets approval for a larger Wallbox. Of course, there's another trick here. We can also purchase this Wallbox in a smaller configuration and then possibly connect it here on the side with single-phase power. This way, we have the option, or actually 2 connection possibilities for a Wallbox here, which gives us much more flexibility and opens up many more possibilities. Because for many vehicles, it's usually sufficient if they are charged with single-phase power. From experience, I own several electric vehicles, mostly hybrids, which typically charge using single-phase power. In that case, even a smaller Wallbox might make sense. Nevertheless, I'd like to take a closer look at the system with you. Let's just take a look inside the PowerDock. It's very important to mention I have a pre-release version here, which means it might differ a bit from the final version. The final version will support more Anker Solix solar banks. This system is currently only for the 3rd generation of Anker Solix solar banks, but as I said, that will be coming soon. Before we open the system, I want to quickly take a look at the contents with you, or rather, take a look at the most important parts. Because in the end, we have to install the system somewhere. For this, we have this pretty sleek wall mount. You can simply attach it to the wall and hang your PowerDock here. And that's basically the entire wall installation. A detailed connection manual is included here for the electrician. This way he can quickly find out how to connect the system and should be able to make fast progress. I like this about Anker products because they always include detailed manuals.
Especially if you hire your electrician to connect this, it saves a lot of money, because the electrician also has to familiarize himself with these plans first.
And that shouldn't be a problem here. It's really child's play. Then let's take a look inside the PowerDock, which means I'll just open it here on the side. There's a small safety screw installed here. The PowerDock can also be installed outdoors and is properly certified. So we've just opened the device. You can see here everything is clearly structured.
We also have a small manual here that shows how everything should be connected.
We also have a residual current circuit breaker here, as well as the LS switch, which can be used to turn your lead charger on and off. Here we have the main connection. Let's open it too. As you can see, everything here is nicely covered, so we have good touch protection. Everything is properly grounded and the cables are also properly fastened and insulated here. Here we can see the connections for our solar banks in front of us. We have the option to include or connect 4 solar banks here. Important, the power grid usually has 3 phases. That means I assume that 3 solar banks are each connected to 1 phase here. And the 4th one I assume will then be connected in parallel with another one here. Over here we now have our main connection. For that we remove this screw again. And here you can see the important connection points in front of you. We have proper cable holders here, which means we can also accommodate very large, very thick cable cross sections here. Anker gives you corresponding recommendations. For the cable cross section, 6 to 16 square millimeters are recommended here, depending on the cable length. That's for your electrician to decide. Neutral conductor goes here, L1, L2, L3 here, and the protective conductor here. And that's basically all there is to it. That means the connection is done very simply here. A main cable, properly sized accordingly, then goes from here to your sub-distribution board and can be separately fused or protected by the electrician, depending on what's required in your situation. However, many households already have a high voltage garage connection that could handle this. And so you could connect this directly here. We also have 2 inputs here. That means we can run our main cable, our main wire in down here, and possibly communication lines up here. The solar banks are connected normally using a plug. The plug, I'll just show it here with the screwdriver. The cable from the plug is simply inserted here, making it splash proof, and then it can be plugged into the individual sockets here. Depending on how many solar banks you have at home, you can plug them in here, start with solar bank A, B, C, and D, and build up from there. Then we have electronics underneath here as well. This isn't available in my system yet since I have a pre-release version here. I'll open it anyway. Here, an electronic component will be inserted, which will allow you to connect other solar banks from Anker as well. This component will be delivered later, but of course it will be included in the final version, so that's the electrical setup. I won't go into more detail since, as I mentioned, this is now for your electrician, not you. But I would recommend simply booking the installation directly with Anker as well. That way the system can be commissioned directly by a certified Anker technician. That's likely the simplest solution. Now that we've taken a look inside the PowerDock, what is another major advantage of the system? The installation location. I generally recommend installing the PowerDock where you need it. That means, of course, ideally in a garage. Because if you ever need a Wallbox, you can simply buy one now and install it right next to it. Please take a look at how your car is parked in the garage and where it is parked. Accordingly, I would also install the PowerDock where the Wallbox will be placed, so that the cable to the car can be routed as easily as possible, and you need as few high voltage cables as possible. That means we have a short plug here. Short distances mean lower costs. The big advantage, once we've installed the PowerDock, we can connect our Anker Solix solar banks to it using a regular 230 volt plug. And these cables here are definitely much cheaper than large, expensive, high voltage cables, and of course also much cheaper than photovoltaic cables. After all, you have to install your photovoltaic modules somewhere. Let's just take a look at where I've installed photovoltaic modules, for example. In my case, my modules are spread out quite a bit. For example, you can see some modules here. This way I can cover the east side here. Then you see two modules behind me, so I can cover the south side as well. And then you can see some more modules here. You see, these are still in the shade right now, so this way I can make excellent use of the midday and evening sun here. Now, all these different modules would need to be connected to our photovoltaic system, or in other words, to our Anker solar banks. But here we have a big advantage. So just create strings based on the Anker Solix solar banks. That means assign solar bank 1 to string 1, solar bank 2 to string 2, and solar bank 3 or 4 to string 3 and 4. This way we have short distances from the photovoltaic modules to the solar bank and can connect them here. We can connect 4 individual photovoltaic modules to each solar bank. The advantage is that each individual photovoltaic module can be shaded separately because each connection has its own maximum power point tracking tracker. Once we've connected the solar banks, we can simply extend the solar banks here with a 230 volt cable, lead it to our PowerDock, and just plug it in there. We'll just do this here as an example with 2 corresponding Anker Solix solar banks of the 3rd generation. We've led these to the PowerDock here, and here we have solar bank 1. We plug that into slot 1A and solar bank 2 into slot 2B. That's how easy the connection is. Once the installation is complete, we can secure the plugs here again with this. That way, they can't be pulled out anymore. When everything is fully connected, it would look like this for you. We can press our cables in here, which will protect them from moisture, and then close the lid. Important. Up here, we have a separate fuse for our 2 corresponding outlets over here. This way, we can also switch our wall boxes on and off separately here, and they are also protected here with a mandatory residual current circuit breaker. Then we can simply close the system, and that's basically it for the installation. So, as you saw, the installation of the PowerDock shouldn't really be a big problem for your electrician. The installation location is important. Next, let's discuss the electric vehicle charger, or Wallbox. Of course, these are available in 3 versions. Here we have the 3-phase version, but it can also be connected as a single phase. The delivery includes a 32 ampere commission on the rules for the approval of the electrical equipment plug, allowing us to connect the Wallbox directly to the PowerDock. Important, the included cable is not very long, so make sure you install the Wallbox in a place where the cable is long enough. Otherwise, the electrician might have to extend it. It's also important, of course, that we can still connect our car here.
So make sure that all the measurements here fit your car so you can connect it properly.
We've now attached the basic structure to the wall here, and now we're just going to insert the cable and connect it. The connection itself shouldn't pose any problems for the electrician. If you have any questions about this, just check the contents of the package. Here you have detailed installation documentation. It's really very well described. And we even have the cable lengths here in case we need to strip the cables. It tells us exactly how much of each cable needs to be stripped, depending on where it's being inserted. We'll just connect this here as an example now. What else makes a good wall box? Of course, the ability to connect to a smart meter. We can use the Anker's own smart meter here, but we also have additional connection options for the corresponding wired smart meter. We also have the option to add a local area network connection here, allowing us to connect the wall box directly to our router via cable. And the rest is actually self-explanatory. It just clicks in here. I recommend installing the Anker smart meter here too. Of course, this creates many more opportunities we can use when charging the car. Of course, we can also use time-based rates or dynamic rates here, but we can take another look at that in the app later. Basically, the device is very easy to set up now. You just plug it in here and screw it together. All components are installed, so just connect your photovoltaic modules. And an important tip, I definitely recommend that you also use the Anker smart meter.
That increases the possibilities for you even more.
This way the system can better monitor where the energy is going, and you also get a special advantage. The smart meter can detect if you already have existing photovoltaic systems, for example, and it can basically integrate them into the system and take them into account.
That's a very big advantage.
Very, very few other competing products can do that, and this one is plug and play.
Also worth mentioning, the system has a 10-year warranty and a planned lifespan of 15 years.
That's also a very long cycle, which only very few competing products, or actually, as far as I know, hardly any other competing product offers. How do we proceed? Next, you just need to group the components together in your Anker app. It's so easy, I no longer need to make a tutorial. How do you do it here?
You open the Anker app. In the top corner, you have a small plus button. Just click on it, go to Add New Device, and at that moment, the available devices will be displayed here.
I haven't registered the electric vehicle charger here yet. You'll only see it there. Click Add. And this way you can now combine all the components into one system and use everything together in one overview and control everything accordingly. And since the video has gotten quite long again, I'll take a little break here. If you have any questions about the system, installation, operation, or anything else, just ask in the comments below. Maybe this will lead to another interesting follow-up video. My conclusion about the system: this is a useful addition to the Anker Solix solar banks. So if you already have existing systems or want to quickly set up a photovoltaic system, you can install this one very cheaply, very easily, and potentially save a lot of money on installation by doing some of the work yourself. What I especially like about the system is that it remains expandable, meaning upgrades are possible. In my case, we can connect even more solar banks here, up to 4 units, and we can also equip each of these individually with additional batteries. But here's another important point. If an existing photovoltaic system is modified, of course, the grid operator must be informed. So that would actually be all there is to say about it. Another question that will probably come up, but which I can already answer for you here: is the system capable of operating independently?
I can tell you right away.
The Anker PowerDock is connected directly to the power grid, which means that if there is a major blackout, the Anker PowerDock will also go out. But each of your Anker solar banks still has the emergency power outlet. And if, for example, you have set up 2, 3, or 4 solar banks here, then you will have 2, 3, or 4 backup outlets that you can continue to use.
So, as I said, that's it for this video. If you have any questions about the installation, just visit the Anker Solix website.
There you will find all helpful guides and information about the installation partners. If you want to see how other users are using the system, you can also find more user experiences on the Anker Solix website. By the way, Prime Day is just around the corner. So if you're interested in Anker Solix products, you'll also find the relevant links below in the video description. It's also important to mention here, once again, a heartfelt thank you to Anker for providing this sample system so that I could present the system to you here. If you liked my video or found it helpful in any way, I'd of course appreciate a thumbs up. And do you want to watch more of my videos? No problem, just subscribe to my channel here, because subscribing on YouTube is of course free. With that, I'll say goodbye. See you next time. Yours, Mark, on YouTube.